Today you're going to work on writing equations. Last week we started talking about solving equations and figuring out what the variable was equal to. So today we're going to figure out if we're given a word problem, how can we write that equation and then solve it. So the first thing I want you to do in your notebooks is add writing equations to your table of contents and page 29. After you've done that, you're going to set up your next clean page. Today's learning goal is I can use variables to help write an equation from a word problem, then use an inverse operation to solve. Then copy down your what I know, what I learned, proof, and reflection. After you write those things down in your notebook, I want you to pause the video and write down what you know about solving equations. As I said, with writing equations, when we are given a word problem with a variable that we need to find, we have to be able to write an equation before we can solve it. So we're going to start by looking at an example. Here's a word problem that we might have. Lance has 28 model cars. His grandparents give him some more model cars. Now he has 31 model cars. How many model cars did Lance's grandparents give him? The first thing we have to do is choose a variable to represent the unknown. Here we don't know the number of model cars that Lance's grandparents gave him, so we're going to use C as the variable to represent the number of cars. Then we're going to write an equation. We know that Lance had 28 model cars. His parents gave him some more, and now he has 31 model cars. And we're using C to represent the number of cars that his grandparents gave him. So therefore, 28 plus C equals 31. Now that we have an equation, we can solve the equation using the inverse operation. So if I have 28 plus C equals 31, I need to do the inverse operation. So, if I have here, I'm going to start by drawing my line down to separate my two sides. I need to get the C alone, so on both sides I'm going to take away the 28. So I get C equals 3. After I do that, I need to check my equation. So I'm going to put my answer in for C. So I'm going to rewrite my original equation. So 28 plus C should equal 31. I said that C equals 3, so 28 plus 3 should equal 31. And 31 equals 31, so my answer checks out. Now we're going to try another example. Anne worked 25 hours this week. That was 3 less hours than she worked last week. How many hours did she work last week? The first thing we have to do is we have to come up with a variable for how many hours she worked last week. So let's say that H represents the number of hours that Anne worked last week. So she worked H hours last week. If I take the 3 hours away, that equals the 25 hours that she worked this week. So now we can work to solve this problem. Let's draw our line down the middle. I'm going to use the inverse operation. I need to get the h alone, so I need to get rid of the minus 3. The inverse or opposite operation would be to add 3 to both sides. That means that h equals 28. So that means that Anne worked 28 hours last week. Now I can check my problem. H minus 3 we said should equal 25. Is 28 minus 3 equal to 25? And it is. 25 equals 25. So my answer checks out.